Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for tuning in. Today what I'm going to talk about is the top 5 things you need to know before choosing a home site or feature home in Wellen Park, and really what you need to know before making that decision. I'm Robin Vakai, the broker owner of Beach Bay Real Estate and a certified financial planner for 25 years. You're watching Suncoast South, a channel I created to share the real story of the Venice housing market, neighborhoods, communities, things you need to know about the costs of home ownership here, and what it's actually like to live in the Venice area. So now let me get into what you need to know about choosing a home site, because the sales staff in the new construction community isn't going to tell you this. And if I can help you, you let me know. Okay, when I first moved to Venice in 2014, Wellen Park, which was known as the West Villages then, was still in the planning stages. In fact, it kind of seemed like a pretty far-fetched idea. But here we are 11 years later with construction well underway. 2 years ago, the downtown opened, and there are a lot of new communities that continue to open and invite homeowners to come on in and live there. So, I've talked about some of the things in other videos, and if you didn't see those, go look about CDD fees and HOA fees. But what you need to know before you pick a lot or a quick move-in home, which are basically their feature homes, there are a few things you're going to want to know. There's more to lot and home site selection than just what's in the sales and marketing materials. First and primary is lot location, including orientation of the lot and sun exposure. So be mindful of when you're looking at the community map, and they may not always show north, south, east, west on the map, but check it for yourself if they don't. West-facing rear lanais, and a lanai here in Florida is basically a screened-in area surrounding a pool or a patio, and they use the catchy term on your lanai. And all I'll say is if that lanai is facing west in the rear, it's very hot in the late afternoon, particularly in the summer when the sun is high in the sky and the sun is very strong and powerful. It makes it really hot out there. So you need to consider that. Now, some people love to watch the western sunsets. They choose home sites just for that. I will just say be prepared that it is hot. Now, yes, you get sunset views if there's a lake or a preserve behind you, but you also get the heat. So just remember that you will end up with, I'm going to redo that. I'm going to cut that out. So yes, you get sunset views if there's a lake or preserve behind you, but you also get the heat. South-facing rear lots get steady overhead sun, but really not direct sun. And in my opinion, they are perfect for a pool. Every home site that I have selected since moving to Florida, the rear of the house has to face south. I do have a pool, and that is the perfect exposure in my opinion. The other thing you have to pay attention to is not just the home site on the community map, but you have to look at the home that you're selecting if you're going to build it from the ground up. So you pick the model. Now you have to, what I tell people to do is kind of take that community map with the way the lot is facing and put your floor plan layout next to it. And look at that and see where the windows are placed on the lot so that you can see where the sun is going to be coming into the house. It's very important. And I always go over that with people when we're, either there on the ground in the community or if we're doing this, over the phone. So pay attention to the window placement where they will be for light flow. Okay, so now water views is the number 2 thing. The good and the not so good about water views. Lake views are beautiful, but they do come with trade-offs. So first, I want to say that the lake looks a lot larger when there are no houses yet built. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you can just use and they're not necessarily mapped to scale in the marketing materials. But when you go boots on the ground and you stand there and you're at the back of the lot looking across that lake, know that across that lake is going to be the back of another house, generally speaking. So wind exposure. This is another thing. If the lake is large, and I've seen them in some communities where the lakes are larger, what you end up with is wind exposure. Okay. So you get wind, and when we have storms, those properties that are in the wide open, because usually there aren't a lot of trees behind the homes because they're trying to preserve the lake view, you end up with wind exposure and wind damage. So a lot of times there are lanais in those open areas that suffer from wind damage. So just keep that in mind. The other thing is noise travels across the water. When you're there looking at it, it's just dirt and there's a lake, and you say, oh, won't that be nice to stand here and look out at my water view from my living room or sitting on my screened-in lanai, whatever. Just remember that when there are houses all surrounding that, everybody's got lights, noise. If they're out in their pool or just sitting on their patio, they're talking, they're playing music. So keep that in mind. And there's also lights. So you often will have light reflection, light glow. Most of the communities have rules against just putting lights all around the pool cages and overlooking the water, but it does happen. And remember, of course, if there is water in Florida, there are likely alligators. So while most people would screen or cage their lanai area, you will see alligators swimming in the water bodies. And don't make a phone call and say, oh my gosh, call Florida Wildlife, because they're going to come and euthanize the alligator. So if people stay away from them and you don't feed them and don't walk your little dog next to the lake, you won't really have any problems. Okay. Builders charge lot premiums, and they're often $25,000 to $60,000 for waterfront lots. So weigh the view and the other downfalls I just talked about versus the cost. Okay, so now here's another big one. Number 3 is the spacing between the homes. A lot of people are surprised about this. Communities like Wellen Park are what we call PUDs, planned unit developments. And because they're master planned communities, there's a shared amount of community space, and therefore the builders get to build more units per acre, right? It's increased density. So when they build more units, the lot sizes are smaller than would ordinarily be required. And so are the setbacks. And the setbacks are how close the building can be to the property line, basically. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in Wellen Park, because I was just there, boots on the ground. So we'll switch over to that so you can see how that looks walking right on. Okay, so I'm flipping around. It's a Saturday. There's a crew in here working on this house that's ICI. There's a crew working, well, they were just working here. So I'm going to walk over here because I want you to see, these two lots. These are specs. So look at the width between these houses. This looks like a pretty good size house. And here's what I'm going to tell you. And this may be okay with you, and it may not be. But I want you to know that, here I'm schlepping through the sand. These houses are literally, they're 5 feet from the property line, if that. I'm going to go get my wheel and measure, and then I'm going to show you. So here, I'm peering in the windows of this one. At least they've got wooden studs. Okay, so there's debris and crap all over the ground here, of course. So pieces of shingle. And so now these are, look how far back this house comes. So this is a big house, starts in the 700s. It's not going to be 700, it's going to be more than that. So here's the silt fence, and it looks like this house has got a little covered lanai space, but it's not that far from the back of the lot. So if they're putting a pool in, it's going to go probably right here. I would think they would have started that already if they were doing it, but what do I know? Okay, so this is what I wanted you to see. So as you saw in my little video clip, those side setbacks can be as little as 5 feet. That's just under 10 feet total between houses, and that's not a lot. So imagine when we have, two AC units, the condenser units out in the yard side by side, or there are a couple of shrubs, you're barely going to be able to get, a lawnmower through there with only 10 feet. So just to reiterate, the minimum setbacks in Wellen Park are 5 feet from the lot line. And I did actually go, as I mentioned it in that little clip, I did use my surveyor's wheel, and I took a picture of it. So that screenshot is here. You'll see it. I measured under 10 feet between the houses. So those are normal setbacks, but if privacy and peace and quiet matter to you, you may be better off in a older but more established neighborhood that's not in a PUD, and they have greater spaces between the homes because the lots are bigger. And unlike in a PUD, when you have a regular neighborhood, the house is not permitted to be 5 feet from the lot line. So that may be of importance to you if you want privacy and a little bit more quiet. Okay, so now what's next door or behind the lot? You also want to look out for this. Look for irrigation or utility stations that can be noisy. Lift stations they have in some of the communities, they usually put those further away. But an irrigation pumping station is often put near a lake that they are going to use to pump water from the lake and feed all the irrigation lines to water everybody's grass and shrubs. So those things usually run in the middle of the night because we have a lot of water restrictions here for when you can water, and you're not supposed to be really watering during the day, especially during the summer months. Okay, so check and find out if the lake is a retention pond. That means it catches overflow. And if that is the case, that it's a retention pond, when we're not having a lot of rain, the water level can be low and the lake can be pretty dry. Check for any drainage or utility easements that may be appearing on the map for the lot you're looking at. If the site plan shows vacant land behind the home site, or it's just a big green area and nothing's marked, ask if that's supposed to be another phase. And if you need to, I can show you how to pull the site plan map so we can look and see what that's actually intended for. So just don't rely on the maps that the builder provides, because keep in mind, those are marketing materials and they are trying to sell you a house and a property. Now, here's another thing a lot of people aren't aware of. The builders always start when they open up a community, and they release a select number of lots when they start. In fact, I just visited Oakbend, it's one word I think on their marketing materials, in Wellen Park, which is a community with 2 builders in it, Toll Brothers and ICI Homes. And I pulled this map, which I'm going to pull up on the screen so you can see, because it shows the early lot releases. So on the map, the available lots have little circles, and that's identifying which ones are available. Now, mind you, these lots that have the circles and that slightly different color shade of green are the Toll Brothers lots. And you can see from the red arrows that I drew in on the map that these are the lots they're releasing, and the rear of the home faces the side of the neighbor's house. This is not a view that you really want. Now, they often will promote these as early release special pricing, but in reality, they build and sell on the least desirable lots first. Like, you'll always notice that the model homes are always going to be near the amenity center. So you'll see that on that map. The model that's under construction, or 2 models, are right there near the amenity center. So just take a look at that, because those lots that have, when you're facing the side of your neighbor's house with your lanai, those are always tough to resell. So if you're focused on resale value, that's not something that you're going to want to buy, unless you're ready to spend a lot of money on landscaping with trees and shrubs to block the view of the side of that house, which can be done, but it's pretty expensive. Okay, so lot width and build out timing. The lot sizes vary by builder, but as I already stated, and as you saw in the little clip, the setback rules are what are going to dictate the size of the house. So the builder may promote, which I know ICI Homes says this, the builder may promote, oh, we've got 75-foot wide lots in here. But what they don't tell you is they're putting big giant houses on there, probably close to 3,000 square feet, and the width of the house is 65 feet. So if it's a 75-foot lot, we're still back to the same thing with 5 feet on either side. So just keep that in mind. Just because you're buying a bigger lot doesn't mean you're getting more space between you and your neighbor. You've got 10 feet to their house. Okay, if you get a pie-shaped lot, sometimes on these maps you'll see they look more narrow in the front and they get wider to the back. You can have a little bit more room and separation between you and your neighbor, but you have to keep in mind, most of these lots, some of the 75-foot wide lots in there may be close to 1/4 acre, but again, the building size is going to take up most of that land area. So the other thing is, I mentioned previously, lots with drainage utility easements are slightly wider to accommodate the easement. So if you're willing to say, hey, we don't care if there's a drainage utility on the outside 5 feet of the lot, if it gives us a little more buffer, some people go for that. So the lot width affects, driveway space, side windows, and the light coming in, and, well, curb appeal. I think the smaller homes and the more narrow the homes are closer together. So always ask also, what's the projected build out going to be? Because ongoing building means noise, dust, traffic, and let's not forget my favorite, roofing nails in the street. I've ruined a number of tires driving through these new construction communities because that happens. Now, most of the builders do run street sweepers through there to pick up all the debris that may have fallen into the road surface, but they're not there every day doing that. So keep in mind that wider or end or corner lots often hold better resale value. So sometimes you get a corner piece that they couldn't fit another lot in, and it is a little wider. For pricing, builders will charge basically in 3 tiers. So the higher premium lots are going to be water view. The next level price tier will be preserve view. And then there'll be, non-view lots, which may or may, back up to other houses. So I'm not saying that Wellen Park or any other new construction community is either good or bad. I just want you to understand how it works and what you're getting and the things you should look out for and the questions you should ask when you are buying. It can be an exciting time buying new construction, especially if you're picking your lot and picking your home model and choosing all your features and upgrades. It is very exciting, but let's make sure we ask a few very important questions before you do any of that. So again, everybody, I'm Robin Vakai, the broker owner of Beach Bay Real Estate and a certified financial planner for 25 years. You're watching Suncoast South, my YouTube channel. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any more upcoming videos on the Florida market and, of course, my Homebuyer education series. So if I can help you, please reach out. My contact info is in the comments and in the description. And you can also go to the website, suncoastsouth.com, and you'll have a way to connect with me there. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and bye for now.